And then he is thinking, in spite of doing all this, I'm feeling dissatisfied. What could be the reason? So now in verse number 31, he is giving the probable reason of his dissatisfaction. He is analyzing. So some self-introspection is going on here in Vyasadev's mind. So all this is his introspection that he's doing. He's analyzing the situation and he's thinking, why am I feeling dissatisfied? Text 31. Kim va bhagavata dharma na prayena nirupitaha priya paramahamsanam ta eva hi achyuta priyaha. This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear both to perfect beings and to the infallible Lord. Okay, so he's saying that maybe prayena nirupitaha. Prayena means not complete. So I have not specifically or completely described the Bhagavad Dharma, which is Priya Paramahamsanam and Achyuta Priya. So the Bhagavad Dharma I have not described completely, but prayena, almost I have described, but maybe not completely. And specifically this Bhagavad Dharma, which is very dear to the Paramahamsas as well as Achyuta, the Supreme Lord. So he's analyzing. He's saying most probably this must be the cause. So he has done all this first. Okay, so this is again a very important lesson that that we ourselves try to find out what is the cause of the problem, rather than immediately going to some superiors and immediately trying to find a solution. Being overly dependent. We need to be dependent but not overly dependent. So Vyasadeva is showing us what to do. So first of all, we have to do the homework of trying to analyze our own situation, trying to find out the cause of the dissatisfaction, trying to find out the cause of the problem. So the homework is done first, and then one goes to the superior for confirmation. Rather than being overly dependent and not using our own intelligence for our own introspection and for our own analysis. So here we see Vyasadeva is doing his own analysis, he's trying to find out the cause of his dissatisfaction, he's doing all that. In the purport, Prabhupada writes another beautiful sentence here. Unless one is fixed in the normal condition of service, neither the Lord nor the living being can become fully satisfied. Unless one is fixed in the normal condition of service, neither the Lord nor the living being can become fully satisfied. So what is going to satisfy the Lord?
Normal condition.
It is the service attitude that satisfies the Lord. Srila Prabhupada wrote this very beautiful statement, which I think we missed discussing it in our discussions. In 1.2.6 purport, in the second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada writes this beautiful statement. Okay, let's read it as it is.
The relation servant and the servant.
Yes. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. We discussed? Okay, good. So somebody can tell us what is the meaning of this?
We have discussed that Jiva Swarupa Krishna Nityadas.
Okay.
And also that we have taken many examples.
Like?
the tug of war between the gopis and Krishna.
Mm. For?
Pleasing each other, gopis want to serve Krishna and Krishna wants to serve the gopis. The tug of war between them increases more love
Correct.
for each other.
Yes, yes. So that's correct. So basically, this relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. Everyone wants to have intimate relations, correct? Now, even in the spiritual world, which is the most intimate relation? Yes, the Madhurya Ras. That is the most intimate relation. Why it is the most intimate relation?
Because both the parties want to love or to be with each other all the time.
More precise? Because that is the epitome of love. And love means selfless service. So when the attitude of selfless service is the topmost, then it becomes the most intimate relationship. Why? It's very simple. When the love is most intimate, then whatever be the circumstances, the relation can never break. So therefore Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that love means in a relationship when there is every reason for the relation to break, but still it does not break. That is real love. Why do relations break? In the material world, we find these days relations, any relation you take, husband, wife, lover, beloved, brothers, sisters, all relations these days break so easily. Why? Yes. Yes. So the root cause is because one is thinking, what will I get in this relation? And when one does not get what one wants, the relationship breaks. But what is Mahaprabhu saying in the 8th verse of the Shikshashtra? Adarshana marmahatam karotu va. So it does not matter whether Krishna gives me his darshan, he does not give me darshan, he makes me broken hearted. Whatever he does, it does not matter. But he will always remain my worshipable Lord. This is the epitome of service attitude. One is not expecting anything in return. So when one has this service attitude, then it becomes the most intimate relationship. Because when there is selfishness in a relationship, at a certain point of time, one of the parties will detect it. This person, he wants to be my friend because kuch to chahiye isko. And as soon as one detects the selfishness, the friction begins. Is it correct or wrong? I'm sure we all have some experience of this, correct?
Yes.
But we see the gopis are even ready to go to hell for the rest of eternity if that is what is required to please Krishna. This is real love, selfless love. So when there is that type of service attitude, then most intimate relationship, and that most intimate relationship will fully satisfy the Lord, and when the Lord is satisfied, the jiva also becomes satisfied. Very important points. So, in our devotional practices, also, the more we come to the selfless platform, the more the Lord will be satisfied with our devotional service. More the Lord is satisfied, we will feel satisfaction. Savai pumsam parodharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The more the devotional service is on the platform of ahituki apratihata, Lord becomes satisfied and then we also become satisfied. Then it becomes easy to continue one's devotional service. But the more we bring in self-centeredness, motivations, selfish motivations, more we bring in these things as a contamination in our practices of devotional service, the more the Lord is not satisfied with our devotional service, and then we also don't feel that satisfaction. This is science. It is a perfect science. We simply have to follow it, and the results are guaranteed. That's why it is a science. So therefore Prabhupada is writing the statement here. Unless one is fixed in the normal condition of service, that means the platform of service attitudes, Jivara Swarupoi Krishna Nitya Das. That is the normal condition of service, unmotivated service. Unless one comes to the platform, neither the Lord nor the living being can become fully satisfied. This defect was felt by him when Narad Muni's spiritual master reached him. Yes, Nimana?
Thank you, Guruji. Guruji, then my situation is that from time immemorial I am attracted towards sense objects madly. So now how to make myself try this, that not enjoy sense objects and keep somebody else in center and just even not sure that I'll get happiness, serve him. And yes, I will feel satisfaction. So one point I am taking understanding well is that in our stage, whatever little bit selfless I can do service, start that. That will give that taste to do more and more and more.
Correct.
So again, I'll go back to my question is this, that I am attracted to sense objects madly and I am convinced that that only can give me happiness and pleasure. So how do I go to this?
Yeah, so therefore we have to have faith in what the Shastra is saying. See, we don't have it now, we don't have experience of the spiritual happiness, spiritual pleasure, we don't have experience of all that. And so all what we have experience of is so-called happiness of the material worlds, which we are attached to, attracted to, and that's what we are trying to find pleasure in. But then, on the basis of the Shastra, then one has to understand that no, that's not the source. As we were hearing morning, Puna Sharvita Charvirana. So, same thing. Useless. Same thing. So one has to understand that that's not the way to find happiness. So then one has faith in what the scriptures are saying. And of course, we do have some practical experience for ourselves also. And that is why we're here, isn't it? We're here because we have definitely some realization of the futility of material happiness. And we have some realization of spiritual happiness. That's why we're here. But then if we want that realization to continue and become stronger and stronger, then we have to become more and more fixed in our devotional practices. And the more we become fixed in our devotional practices, then we get more and more realization of these points. And then that's how we can become more and more fixed. So yes, so the faith has to develop in the Shastra truths. And the faith comes by association. So when the faith increases, then yes, then one continues and then one gets a better experience.
Thank you. One more question. So now, after spending few years in ashram, how do I check that I am in the ashram, not because I know how much miserable it is outside and even the married life or the working outside. That is not the only impetus for me to continue. How do I check? Am I continuing because of that largely or almost completely? Or I have some spiritual interest or spiritual seriousness to do spiritual progress, or I'm just escaping that and then somehow continuing. How do I check with it?
Of course, then one has to see how much one is serious in one's spiritual practices to attain the spiritual goals. So it's not about just escaping material responsibilities. Then that is the contamination of jnana in one's spiritual practices. So jnana is one liberation. Liberation means what? Dukkha nivritti. That is basically what the jnanis want. Liberation from material suffering. So then if we come with the same aspiration, and then when we come into the ashram, we come to devotional service, and then somebody loads us with too much of service, practical services, and then we think, oh, I came for Shanti over here, where is Shanti? So then if one is thinking like that, and then one tries to escape from the services, the spiritual anxieties, if one is simply trying to escape, then that means one has not understood the real purpose. So the real purpose is to please Krishna, satisfy Krishna, and not simply try to escape the material miseries. So His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj writes in his book, when all these struggles were going on in Srila Prabhupada's life, so much of struggle. So we know, right from even before he went to America, struggles in India, after he went, then so much struggles there, while going, heart attacks, and then after going there, so much of struggle. But then Srila Prabhupada, he never complained. And then even in trying to establish ISKCON, manage the devotees, how many anxieties, it's unimaginable. And he, as the founder Acharya, he had to deal with everything practically. So once Giriraj Maharaj asked him some question to the effect that, how you were able to go through all this. Srila Prabhupada said, my policy was everything for Krishna, nothing for me. So Prabhupada repeated that statement a few times. His policy was always this: everything for Krishna, nothing for me. So if one is simply trying to escape from anxieties and responsibility, then one will not be able to take up any responsibility in the spiritual fields. Then one will think, okay, I just want Shanti. Okay.
Prithvi, there is regarding previous discussion about regarding the weeds. So, Prithvi, the other person can get an idea that whether it's the years of practice of bhakti is the weed or the bhakti, others might easily understand, right? Even the self do not understand. Then in this case, Prithvi, how can I see that whether we are cultivating the bhakti lata or the weeds?
Okay, so then again I have to see what are my motives in my practices. What is it that is giving me nourishment in my practices? So am I doing a service simply for the material gains that I'm going to get, or am I doing the service just for the sake of pleasing Guru and Krishna? That means I do the service irrespective of whether I get the material gains or not. So So, and again, I'm sure we all have that experience. So we do a service, sometimes we may get appreciation, sometimes we may get so much of criticism. So, so then how do we take it? So then if I'm only looking for positive material gain and we are only looking for praises and everything rosy and wonderful, if you're only looking for that, then that's our weeds. We are becoming attached to the material gain. But then if we are only interested in service, then it doesn't matter. Of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes one step ahead to saying that the obstacles on the path of my devotional service are my greatest ecstasies. How many of us will feel ecstatic when there are difficulties? So that's one step ahead, because then one sees, oh, Krishna is purifying me, so wonderful. Actually, that should be the consciousness. Krishna is purifying me. I want to get purified, and Krishna is helping me becoming purified. It's just like the example is given. These are all Shastric examples. That just like one goes to the doctor, voluntarily one is taking injection, voluntarily one is going through the pain of surgery. Why? Because he wants to get cured. So then that's exactly what Krishna is doing. So as Krishna is putting difficulties in the life of a devotee just to purify him. So then actually I should feel happy, isn't it? Krishna is purifying me. He is helping me come closer to him. Great, wonderful. So if one is having that Krishna conscious view, then in difficulties one can be ecstatic. Because I'm getting purified. Very soon I'll go closer to Krishna. Not so easy to speak.
Rishi, and the last sentence you said, I'm connecting to this escapism, service, accepting the services and escapism. Sometimes we also know that the service which we'll be taking up will be including many shoots up and many things.
Challenges.
So if I can skip off, if I take a back step, some other will be taking up and things will go better than how I can serve in that position. That is also escapism, Raji?
So then it just depends on what is the service that is being allotted to us by superiors. If that is what is expected, then yes, okay, so then we know. Just like Hemgiri Prabhu is the temple commander here. So, how cool is the service, Prabhu? Okay, needless to say. So, but then if that's what is... so you volunteered for the service, or it was given to you?
It was a demand from the devotees.
So whatever. So then it's... so if that is what is expected, then okay, then we have to accept. What to do? Krishna's plan for our purification. Be happy. All right. Okay, so at that time, as he was contemplating, text 32, as mentioned before, Narada reached the cottage of Krishna Dvaipan Vyas on the banks of the Saraswati, just as Vyasdev was regretting his defects. Okay, this is a nice purport. Please read.
The vacuum felt by Vyasdev was not due to his lack of knowledge. Bhagavad Dharma is purely devotional service of the Lord, to which the monist has to access. No access. The monist is not counted amongst the Paramahamsas, the most perfect of the renounced order of life. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of narrations of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Although Vyasdev was an empowered divinity, he still felt dissatisfaction because In none of his works were the transcendental activities of the Lord properly explained. The inspiration was infused by Sri Krishna directly in the heart of Vyasadeva, and thus he felt the vacuum as explained above. It is definitely expressed herewith that without the transcendental loving service of the Lord, everything is void. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, everything is tangible without any separate attempt at fruity work or empiric philosophical speculation.
Yes. So the important point here is the inspiration was infused by Sri Krishna directly in the heart of Vyasadeva, and thus he felt the vacuum. Therefore, the first statement is the vacuum felt by Vyasadeva was not due to his lack of knowledge. So, here in the case of Vyasadeva, the vacuum was created by whom? By Krishna himself. So that the Bhagavatam manifests. So, the vacuum was created by Krishna. So, just the same point. क्या हो गया उसको?
ये हो गया स्लीप में चला गया
निकाल के लगता है ये distraction. Okay, no problem. So anyway, Vishwanath Tagore in his commentary, he makes exactly the same point, that actually it was Krishna who inspired Vyasadeva with this despondency. And otherwise, Vyasadeva is who? Krishna himself is incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So how can he make a mistake, or how can he feel despondent? How can it happen? No. So then this entire Leela is also orchestrated by the Lord for us to understand all these points. That how no one can be satisfied without the pure devotional service of the Lord. So the whole thing was orchestrated by the Lord, and therefore it's happening. Otherwise, Vyasadeva himself could not be in illusion or dissatisfied. So again, we find many times Krishna also, he orchestrates these things for us to learn. Just like Arjuna, he was put into bewilderment on the battlefield. Why? Yes, so it's for us. Otherwise, Arjuna is already a pure devotee. So same thing here also. Text 33. At the auspicious arrival of Sri Narada, Sri Vyasadeva got up respectfully and worshipped him, giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji, the Creator. Thus, in the purports of the first canto, 4th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Sri Narada. We go into chapter 5, which is very important. A lot of instructions, Narada Muni's very, very important instructions that he's giving, which require a good amount of discussion. Now, this instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. Text 1. Sutta uvacha atatham sukamasina upasinam brihashravaha devarshi praha viprarshin vinapani smayanniva. So the Goswami said, thus the sage amongst gods, Narada, comfortably seated, apparently smiling, addressed the Rishi amongst the Brahmanas, Vedavyas. So Prabhupada says Narada was smiling because he well knew the great sage Vedavyas and the cause of his disappointments. He already knew. So therefore he's smiling. Text 2. Vedavyas.
No. Vyasadeva Vaishampayana.
Dvaipayana.
He is also, no, Vaishampayana Rishi, he is also one and the same person.
Vaishampayana. Vyasadeva is also a post, and therefore there could be different individuals who take up that service of Vyasadeva. And so in this Vyasadeva that is being referred to here is Dvaipayana Vyas. So that is the current Vyasdev. So there could be different individuals who have that service of Vyasdev. Okay. So now Narada is asking Vyasdev. Narada Uvacha Parasharya Mahabhaga Bhavata Kachadatmana Paritushyati Sharira Atma Manasa Eva Va. Addressing Vyasdev, the son of Parashar, Narada inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? So, in other words, he's trying to say you cannot be satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind, by being on the bodily concepts. So here, Narada Muni is addressing Vyasdeva as Parasharya, son of Parashar. So Prabhupada is commenting on that. This was a hint by Narada to Vyasdeva regarding the cause of his despondency. Vyasdeva is the descendant of Parashar, a greatly powerful sage, had the privilege of having a great parentage, which should not have given Vyasdeva cause for despondency. So therefore he is addressing him like that. So such a great parentage, he should not have felt despondent. He should not have landed into such a situation. But yet he did. Being a great son of a great father, he should not have identified the self with the body or the mind. Ordinary men with poor fund of knowledge can identify the body as self or the mind as self. But Vyasdeva should not have done so. One cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is factually seated in self-realization, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na shochati na kamshati. So if one wants to be prasannatma, then one should be transcendental to the body and mind, being situated on the level of the self. Then one can be actually cheerful. Otherwise, if one is misidentifying with the body and mind, then always there will be some hankering, some lamentation, I want this, I want that. So one cannot be really happy. Okay, text 3. Your inquiries were full and your studies were also well fulfilled. And there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained. So Narada Muni is first of all glorifying Vyasdev. He is telling him what all wonderful things he has done. So again here Prabhupada writes, the despondency of Vyasdev was certainly not due to his lack of sufficient knowledge. And then in the text 4 he says, you have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman as well as knowledge derived therefrom. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu? So we see Narada Muni, the spiritual master, is addressing his disciple as Prabhu. So again, a point of etiquette. There is one lecture where Srila Prabhupada is saying, so in our movement we address everyone as Prabhu. And just like I'm also calling my disciple His Holiness Kirtanananda Maharaj. So, Prabhupada. So actually you can see even in letters, sometimes even in conversations, Prabhupada actually addresses his disciples as Prabhu, Maharaj. And we know Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, disciples paid obeisances, what do we say? Dasus. So that's the mood. So that's always the mood one has. So everyone is okay. So here he's saying that you have not only spoken about given all these literatures, the Vedic literatures, but you have also described about the Brahman, the absolute. But in spite of all this, you are feeling akrita artha. Akrita artha. That means some purpose has not been fulfilled. Artha means purpose. Akrita means the purpose, the goal has not been fulfilled. So why do you think so? So why should he lament? So now Vyasdeva is replying. Text 5. Shri Vyasdeva said, all you have said about me is perfectly correct. Despite all this, I am not satisfied. I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction, for you are a man of unlimited knowledge due to your being the offspring of one who is self-born without mundane father and mother. So we find that Narada Muni glorified Vyasdev as Parasharya, as the son of Parashar Muni. Now Vyasdev is glorifying Narada Muni as Atma Bhava. Atma Bhava, one who is self-born. So he is born from one who is self-born. Atma Bhava, Atma Bhutam, the offspring of one who is self-born, that is offspring of Brahma. So again, he is glorifying his lineage. So he is glorifying his lineage, saying that you are such a wonderful personality or such a wonderful lineage, why are you feeling despondent? Now, Vyasadeva is glorifying Narada Muni for his lineage because he wants to show that he is competent to dispel his lamentation. So therefore he is glorifying his lineage. So he says, yes, all what you said is correct, but still I am feeling dissatisfied. As Prabhupada writes in the purport, as such, all knowledge disseminated in the material world is related either with the body or with the mind, and that is the root cause of all despondencies. This is not always detected, even though one may be the greatest erudite scholar in materialistic knowledge. It is good, therefore, to approach a personality like Narada to solve the root cause of all despondencies. Okay, so we already discussed these points. So therefore, it's very difficult to detect, even though one may be a great scholar, but one may find it difficult to detect. So therefore, one should approach a superior personality. And then he is in the next two verses, he is glorifying Narada Muni for his wonderful qualifications. Text 6. Savai bhavan veda samasta guhyam upasito yat purusha puranah Paravaresho manasaiva vishvam srujat yavatyakti gunera sangaha. My Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world and the maintainer of the spiritual world, the original personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. So here, Vyasadeva is explained to Narada Muni why he is competent to dispel all his despondencies and his lamentation. He says, you're very competent. Why? Everything that is guhya, everything that is guhyam, confidential, is known to you. Veda samasta guhyam. Why? Because upasita, because he worships Yat Purushaha, the Supreme Personality, who is Purana, Paravaresha. So because he is worshipping the Supreme Lord, therefore he knows everything that is Guhyam. Therefore, Prabhupada begins the purport by saying, a person who is 100% engaged in the service of the Lord is the emblem of all knowledge. Such a devotee of the Lord in full perfection of devotional service is also perfect by the qualification of the personality of God. We already discussed these points, that how a devotee can never be in ignorance. Today morning's lecture also Prabhupada was quoting. What is that? One who knows the Supreme Lord knows everything. What is that? Prabhupada quoting. Yasmin vijñāte sarvam etad vijñātam bhavati. One who knows Krishna knows everything. Srila Narada is a 100% perfect living being, although not equal to the personality of Godhead. Text 7. Like the sun, your goodness can travel everywhere in the three worlds, and like the air, you can penetrate the internal region of everyone. As such, you are as good as the all-pervasive super soul. Please, therefore, find out the deficiency in me, despite my being absorbed in transcendence under disciplinary regulations and vows. Okay, so again, he is glorifying Narada Muni, that he is like the sun, he travels everywhere, and he is like the Vayu. Vayu is present everywhere, correct? So therefore, similarly, he is like the Paramatma, he is present within the heart, he knows what is in his heart, he knows everything. So therefore, he says, you are qualified to find out the cause of my despondency. And so therefore, please find out what is the deficiency in me. Nunam, deficiency. Alam vichakshva. So he says, search out, vichakshva, search out clearly what is the deficiency in me. Tell me what is the deficiency. So again, we see how Vyasadeva is very eager to find out the deficiency. And many times what we do? Please don't find out. Please don't find out. Let me keep them very safely covered, all my deficiencies. Nobody should detect them. But then, if the disease is not detected, not diagnosed, how can we get treatment? Correct? First there must be diagnosis, then there can be treatment. If there is no diagnosis of the disease, how can there be treatment? So therefore, one should be eager to allow the spiritual master to find out one's deficiencies and rectify them. In one class, His Grace Rameshwar Prabhu was mentioning that one of the main reasons why I miss Srila Prabhupada now is that I don't get his chastisements. So he was saying that when Srila Prabhupada would chastise, I felt so grateful that he's taking out time to chastise me and rectify me. So that should be the attitude of the disciple, that one should welcome the rectification, the chastisements, because then that's the medicine for our purification, our rectification. If we don't welcome it and we don't allow our deficiencies to be rectified, then how can we progress? So here we find Vyasadeva is requesting Narada Muni, you're competent, you're capable, so please find out my deficiencies and let me know and rectify them. So, some purport in the Bhagavad Gita, I don't recollect, it's in the 18th chapter. Prabhupada is writing this point that one should allow the spiritual master to interfere in one's life. Again, it's painful, but then when the doctor gives medicine, when the doctor gives treatment, it may be painful, but then that is for whose benefit? Our benefit. So if we don't allow the doctor to diagnose the disease and give treatment, who is the loser? We are the losers. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Radha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Okay, attendance.